afternoon, Don.
I'm Don Sanders, Executive Artistic Director of MiFA and the Victory Theater Project. And on behalf of everyone working on this project, I'm delighted that you are here this afternoon. I have to confess that I am really excited. You know, being in show business, it's easy to be excited about opening nights, etc., etc. There is something about this moment which I will not be shy about saying we have fought so hard to have happen. And the prevailing wisdom in show business is that you're never supposed to expose the public to the difficulties of that moment when the star comes out and does a number and you don't realize that there are 150 people backstage working lights, etc., to make it happen. And bear in mind that has been, maybe it hasn't been 150 people, but it's been a lot of people working on this project so passionately and with such dedication that's why we're standing here this afternoon. I do, before we begin, want to single out one person, Helen Casey in the back. Would you please just wave to us there? Helen Casey was one of a group of people, but it was really, I think, her passion to have saved this theater back in the 1970s and into the 80s. And that was just an act of tremendous courage and vision. So today, this afternoon, we are thanking our champions, some of the people that have fought for our being here and what this facility is going to be for this entire community and for the entire region. We have with us State Senator Don Humison, State Senator Eric Lesser, our Representative Aaron Vega, our Mayor Alex Morse, and we have other visiting. We have Mayor Nicole LaChapelle, thank you for right in front of me, from neighboring East Hampton. And I'm going to ask each one of them to come up and say a few words, beginning with Don. And welcome, Don.
Welcome, Don. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, whoa, hot mic. It is a real pleasure to talk to Don in person for a change, because for the past couple of months he's been talking to me on the phone every day. And I even take the call too, Don, so I'm happy to do that. Listen, good afternoon. It's great to be here with all of you. I am Don Humison. I'm very proud to be the state senator for the city of Holyoke. And 5 years ago, I was elected, and one of the first things that happened for me was I got a chance to come and meet Don and Kathy and the folks from MiFA and take a tour of this building behind us. And at that time, I was, from the beginning, convinced and sold on the idea that this theater needed to be saved and renovated, and it needed to be the artistic, cultural, and economic center for Holyoke that we all know, everyone here knows it can be. It has been a real pleasure working with Don and Kathy, and working with Aaron and Alex, and working with my friend Senator Lesser, and all the folks from the chambers and all the economic people in the area, as we've tried to come up with ways to get money steered to the Victory Theater. We know it's not always easy to do, and it takes a long time, unfortunately, but it has been worth the effort. So just briefly, I'll tell you that we were able to put, through two different bond bills that came to the legislature recently, we were able to get first $2 million and then $11 million through into an authorization in two different bonds. And so now the money can be there if we can convince the administration that this is a worthwhile project. Now, the Commonwealth has a history. There is a precedent for redeveloping theaters in our state. None certainly as grand as this, but after we're done with it, it will be. If we can redevelop this theater, it will not just bring jobs here to this building, but look around you. This entire area, which is more than just a block, this entire region can be the arts incubator that we know it could be. And that will generate a lot of tax revenue, a lot of enthusiasm and energy for the city of Holyoke and for the region beyond. Everybody's been focused on the MGM casino, and that's wonderful. But we can do something here, right here in Holyoke. So I want to thank all of you that have been a part of this project, that have been working so hard behind the scenes, everybody who's supported the delegation in Boston as we've worked to bring money back to the Victory Theater. Thank you for this chance to be here with you today. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate this beautiful building, what it is now and what it will be in the future. I'd like to introduce my good friend and partner here in the city, the state representative from the city of Holyoke, Representative Aaron Vega.
Thank you, Senator. And as they're mentioning, the battle continues. This is actually a war wound from getting the money for the Victory Theater. The story changes every day about what happened to my foot. It's exciting, and it's real, and we're making more and more steps to this actually coming to fruition. Is it done? No. Do we have more work to do? Yes. But what we're able to do now is sort of tout that there is support for this project, and that's important because it's important to recognize that tourism and arts is a little bit different in Western Mass than it is in Boston. This is our third biggest industry in Western Mass, tourism and arts, and that we need to and have to get this done because as most of you know here in Holyoke, there used to be an opera house. There used to be 2 other theaters, and this is the only one even left standing as a bricks and mortar building. And as this city has changed its mindset and its view on saving and preserving historic buildings, this is a key one to serve and to save. So it's been an exciting project. It's been, as Don mentioned, Senator Humison mentioned, Don and Kathy often have us upstairs to tell us how excited they are and how much progress they've made. And we're always like, well, didn't you tell us that before? But no, this is new stuff. And but they keep us in the loop, and that's important. And that's why all of you are part of this community as well and make it happen. The last 2 things I want to say is that it is imperative that we continue to fight because we need to work with this administration to tell them how important it is. And that includes Jay Ash, that includes our Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. So whenever they're out here, if any of you are in your other hats, interact with them. You're up there talking about higher education, you can say, hey, by the way, Jeff Hayden will say, you know, we're going to have this great relationship with the Victory Theater for our theater department to expand our reach onto the community. Oh, that's a great idea. If our superintendent is talking to them, hey, we're going to be cooperating with the college and with the Victory Theater for our students to have an actual real stage that they can be presenting on. Oh, we're going to work with community groups like Nueva Esperanza. Well, maybe Nueva Esperanza is going to have their summer youth activities performing here and learning from touring groups that come here and sharing that activity and sharing that knowledge. That's key. The last thing I want to say is that what was great about this project, I want to thank the mayor. I'm not going to introduce the mayor, so I want to thank the mayor. He went out there and got all the area mayors to sign a letter of intent of support for this project. You know how hard it is to get area mayors to support a project out of their district? So, Mayor, thank you for getting their signatures on there, right? But that document helped us convince my colleagues, Joe Wagner from Chicopee, who heads up the Economic Development Committee, the delegation from Springfield, including Jose Tosado, Carlos Gonzalez, Bud Williams. They start to get it, and of course, our retiring friends, Rep. Sybeck and Kulik, were also supportive. So that's what it takes. It's on the ground, and that information coming to us. And we work together, and I'm one of those guys that really works well because I work across the aisle. And I don't mean R&D, I mean House to Senate. And I'd like to introduce my friend from the Senate, Eric Lesser, who's gonna come up and tell you about what his role is in this role too.
Good segue, wow. Well done, Aaron. So first let me introduce myself. My name is Eric Lesser. I'm the State Senator for the 1st Hamden and Hampshire District, so just south of here, and also have the honor representing Springfield and Chicopee. I want to thank, you have an incredible team, dynamic duo in Aaron Vega and in Don Humison. I am endlessly impressed with both of them and with how hard each works, and also how well they work together. It's kind of a model, I actually think, for how effective government, and especially on a state level and on a local level, should work. So I want to thank you, Senator Humison, and you, Representative Vega, for your friendship and championing this project. And I want to thank Mayor Morris. Aaron's exactly right. It's not easy to get a whole group of Western Mass mayors to all sign on to the same letter, and let me tell you, it got the legislature's attention. And I just want to thank the just relentless and inspiring Don and Linda and Jeff team. And I also want to acknowledge the generosity of Don and Michelle Demore, who are great friends and are supporting so many wonderful projects up and down the Pioneer Valley. I'm here. We should give them certainly a round of applause. I'm here kind of in two hats. When I first entered the legislature, shortly after Senator Humison, I chaired the Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development. And I think within hours of getting that appointment, I started getting very polite, but it began subtle, then it was not so subtle, outreach from Linda and from Don about this project, and working with the Mass Cultural Council, Anita Walker, and of course with the advocacy and leadership of Don Humison and Aaron Vega, we were able to begin to work to get this project kind of on the radar screen of statewide officials. And then this past legislative session, my sophomore session, I chaired our Committee on Economic Development and Emerging Technologies. I co-chair that committee. I chair the Senate side. The House side is chaired by Joe Wagner, our neighbor in Chicopee. And I actually think those are inextricably linked. The arts and the culture scenes, especially in the Pioneer Valley, especially in Western Massachusetts, and economic development. There was a study that was done just a few years ago by the Greater Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau that said for every dollar spent on arts, culture, and tourism promotion and marketing and investment, there's a 7-fold return on investment through the rest of the economy. And if you think about it, it makes intuitive sense. They're assets that can't be outsourced. They're jobs that are inherently local. People come to the theater, they park, they go out to eat, they invest in real estate and in other businesses around. And it's often the arts and the cultural economy and the arts and culture sector that come into a community first and start making that investment, start doing that creative placemaking work, start doing that promotional work that then brings more traditional and other investment behind it. And there's no doubt that the Victory Theater will be part of that plan, and as part of a broader redevelopment that's going on all around Holyoke under Mayor Morse's leadership. You think about really the three things that are key to revitalization of our urban communities and of our urban neighborhoods. The first, I do believe, is transportation. We're seeing that with the north-south service and the opening of the Holyoke platform that Mayor Morse and the legislative delegation here was so instrumental on. Eventually, hopefully, east-west service as well. You're seeing that with education, the improvements and the turnaround efforts in the Holyoke school systems. And the third is an investment in our creative economy. And in our arts and in our cultural sector to bring in those new voices, to bring in those new people and that new investment that follows. And the Victory Theater is going to be part of that reawakening in coordination with Gateway City Arts and with so many other programs and projects happening, especially in neighboring East Hampton, which is part of that broader Pioneer Valley cultural corridor as well. So as Rep. Vega and Senator Humison have already pointed out, this is the start of a long process. It is not even the end of the beginning. It is still kind of midway through the beginning of getting the shovels in the ground, getting the money secured to get this going. What has happened here in technical speak is an authorization has been unanimously approved by the legislature. But we still need the administration, we still need Governor Baker and his team to actually capitalize on that authorization and put the investment in. It's a long process, but it does happen. I'll give you just an example. This morning, we were at a brand new $12 million early education facility that's opening in Springfield. It was a 7-year effort to get that done, to get the money secured after a process similar to this one with the Victory Theater that began as an idea from a group of committed people in the community and then a great team that wouldn't let go. So we're going to see the same results, the same success here, but it's going to be a team effort, everyone working together to keep the momentum going and to tell the story about how important this theater is to the revitalization of our community and to the creation of jobs up and down the Pioneer Valley. So thank you, and I'm not sure who I'm introducing, or I'll turn it back over to Don. Okay.
Thank you. Michelle and Donald, would you come up and join me at the podium? Just please. I want to celebrate you and to use that excuse to celebrate and serenade everybody. So, without Donald and Michelle's personal commitment to this project, because in a certain way the arts begin and then it takes somebody to translate that so that all of the rest of us know how important it is. And I have to say that Donald and Michelle have really, they stepped up in a way that I'm not sure they even know how important it was. And when I first went to the offices of the Big Y and saw the delivery car from the 1940s, when I saw the beauty of those offices, the specialness, the artisticness, the collection of pictures, then I hoped that our plea would be heard, and it was. And I want to thank you, Michelle and Donald, and in honor of that, would you like to sing? I'm not going to sing, no. Charlie Barrios is going to sing. Would you like to say something first?
Yeah, do you have any spare quarters? We're parked across the street.
Yeah, okay. All right, Charlie. So this is to give us an idea of some of the kind of fun we might have when the theater's open.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Charlie Berrios. I'm being a resident of the city of Holyoke since 1989, when I came from Puerto Rico as a little boy. So basically, this is my adoptive city. My wife born and raised here. My children, boys, are born and raised here. So I'm part of this community. So I'm very happy that this is taking place, because I'm a singer, I'm a tenor, and it's something that we need more of in our community. And today I'm going to sing two pieces. My accompaniment is Mr. Trevin Bond. He's the music director at the Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School here in Holyoke too. And we have two selections for you. And the first one I think is very appropriate for the event. The butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk are secretly unhappy men because the butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk get paid for what they do, but no applause. They gladly give their dirty jobs goodbye for anything theatrical and why. There's no business like show business like no business I know. Everything about is appealing, everything that travel will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling where you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show, people that smile when they are alone. Even with a turkey that you know will fall, you may be stranded out in the cold. Still you want the change it for a sack of gold. Let's go on with the show. There's no business like show, business like no, business I know. Everything about is appealing, everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling where you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show, people that smile when they are alone. Even with a turkey that you know will fall, you may be stranded out in the cold. Still you want to change it for a sack of gold. Let's go with the show.
Now I think I can say the theater wants him inside at some point, right? Right? And, yeah, great. Charlie is going to be back, but we're going to go on with the show. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a group of people that without whom we couldn't go on with the show, and that is the architects for the theater, Michael Vivieros from Durkee Brown, Vivieros and Warrenfeld. And after that, we'll have some words from Villa Quadro from Bar and Bar Construction.
Well, what a lovely day to be with all of you. Really fantastic. I first came to Holyoke a little over 9 years ago. I had never been here before. But when I came, I was amazed by what I saw, absolutely amazed. I came from the east, so I came across the Willamette Bridge, over the mighty Connecticut River, beautiful railroad trestle to my right. Immediately, these wonderful historic mill buildings come into view. I go over one canal, travel a little further, over a second canal, and then a third canal. Again, these wonderful historic mill buildings all around. Dip under an historic train trestle, go up to High Street, take a right. On my left suddenly is this beautiful, beautiful brownstone church. I just couldn't believe the architecture that I was seeing. And it's important to understand that my firm specializes in historic preservation work and in landmark preservation work. So I get to see a lot of special places, quite honestly. I'm lucky enough to be able to see these kinds of places. But I was blown away by Holyoke. As I travel further up High Street, I run into a group of, I'm now getting into the downtown, into the wonderful, business buildings and retail buildings. All they're not just historic, but their quality is absolutely fantastic. The level of detail, the proportions. These are really beautiful, special structures. And I hadn't met Don or Kathy at that point. I was coming to meet them, and again, I hadn't been to Holyoke. And often when I go to a new place, I like to get there a little early, kind of snoop around, try to learn what I can. And so I ended up over by the where the turbines are that generate electricity. I ended up over by the magnificent dam, and I was just blown away again by what I was seeing. And then coming over here, right here on the sidewalk, meeting with Don and Kathy. From the outside, you really don't get a sense of what you're about to see when you step inside. And so at the time, there was no electricity in the building. We had our flashlights. We walk in, and there's this really wonderful historic stair. And then you step in a little further, and with our flashlights, we're trying to look around. And I was amazed by the room, by the space that I was seeing. There's something very special about this space, something very special about first, it's both grand and intimate at the same time. And so here we are, for me, 9 years later, but for Don and Kathy, I think a little longer. And, and I really, Don and Kathy's commitment for this project, their absolute dogged commitment has been just remarkable. And it's my pleasure to congratulate the city of Holyoke on this moving, to the next step, moving forward. And of course, to congratulate MiFA, and of course, Don and Kathy. This is going to be a special, transformative project, and I just can't wait to see it. So, fantastic. Thank you.
Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill Quadro. I'm with Bar and Bar. It's nice to see all of you here today. I was asked to spend just a few minutes to talk about what excites Bar and Bar about this project. Well, like Michael, we've been here for 9 years, and Don called me, several weeks ago after fostering that relationship for 9 years and said, Bar and Bar, welcome aboard. Well, that excites us. Just to be here is really an excitement. We're glad to be part of this team. We're heading into a phase of the project that's called pre-construction. And as one of the senators mentioned, we're like halfway through to getting to the actual construction of the project. Pre-construction is where we put Don and Kathy's vision of this theater on paper. We do that with the architects, with MiFA, with the construction manager. We're going to need the city of Holyoke to come through for us. We're going to need everybody here. You've all touched this project or have been touched by this project. So that's what it's going to take to get this thing done. We need to consider that there is a December of 2020 opening. So I want that in everybody's mind. So when we're moving forward with the political aspects of this, we hopefully can expedite it. And the last thing I'd like to say is I can't wait for December of 2020. I can't wait to see the look on that man's face, on Kathy's face. Look at the look right now. That is not going to compare to opening night. Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to ask Mayor Morse if he would come up and share a few words. And I just want to say as a prelude, when Alex was first elected, which was such a great moment for the city, he came and we had a photo op in front of this theater. So I'm really very happy about both of our longevities together.
Well, thank you, Don. And I know quite a few people have already spoken, so I'll try not to repeat the talking points. I think we all can agree what a great catalyst this project will be for this neighborhood, this entire community, and this entire region. And I think that's why it was with relative ease that all of Western Massachusetts mayors signed on to that letter of support to our state delegation and to our governor and State Secretary of Economic Development, Jay Ash, about the importance of this project. And I do want to single out our neighbor and community mayor, Nicole LaChapelle in East Hampton, for taking the time to be here today. And while they're not here, of course, thank all of the other mayors who quickly signed on to this project. And as mayors, yes, we oversee our respective community, but we know that we're only as good as what's happening in the communities around us on all issues. And the creative economy is something that I think we all have a great deal of interest and passion in. And what I think separates Holyoke apart is our unique identity, in that we've embraced the creative economy for generations. That's our history. That's who our people are. That's what our buildings represent. And I think today we still emulate that same spirit. And I do want to thank folks here like Priscilla from Enchanted Circle Theater, Kate from the Wisteria Hearst Museum. We have a creative economy that is buzzing in all areas of our community. I also saw our City Councilor for Ward 2, Nelson Roman, also Executive Director of Nueva Esperanza. And I know that Nueva and MiFA have had a strong partnership over the last couple of years to make sure that the creative economy includes everybody and everybody in this community, people of all languages and backgrounds. And I know Don and Kathy and their team have been passionate about making sure that when this theater opens, people who live in Holyoke will see their identities represented on this beautiful stage. And so for us, we couldn't be more proud of the progress that MiFA has made in the years since I took office. Again, this wouldn't have been possible without the strong support of Senator Humison, Representative Vega, Senator Lesser, and everyone else in the state level who really believed in this project. So congratulations. Again, I would say we still have more work to do, and so celebrate today, but I know back on the phones tomorrow. And of course, thank Jeff and Linda for joining the team in recent time and really adding a great voice on the state level to making sure this project happens. So congratulations, have a wonderful day, and best of luck. Thank you.
Nicole, it would be wonderful if you would share a few words with us.
Sure.
As a neighbor and friend.
Thank you, Mayor Morse, for inviting me over the mountain. Something I'm very familiar with as I grew up in Holyoke. The reason why I'm here as mayor of East Hampton, because truly, arts and industry, commerce, do not know borders. And Western Mass in particular is stronger when we work together and acknowledge the uniqueness of one city and the uniqueness of the other and work together. I remember the magic of this theater, dating myself, watching classic Disney movies. Yes, there we go. Thank you for stepping up. And know that it will be magical yet again. If nothing else, the Pioneer Valley has a strong history and understands that talent and creativity and commerce knows no boundaries. Everyone has a part of that, but the opportunities to follow through, Pioneer Valley has a strong commitment to make sure that there are opportunities. Victory Theater is a part of that and will cause folks of all ages to stay here, as they should. Thank you again, Mayor Morse, for your leadership and the rest of the delegation. I will say I'm looking forward to working with all of you on some projects I have over the mountain. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicole. I'd like to introduce you to Kevin McCaffrey, who is the current just elected, well, he'll tell you.
I'm Kevin McCaffrey. I'm the chair of the Greater Holyoke Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and also the Director of Government Relations at Mount Holyoke College. I'm here today with our new president, Barry Feingold, who is in the back. Of course, thanks to all the civic leaders and elected officials who have made today possible. If I could offer one bit of suggestion, I would have Mr. Barrios a part of every press conference going forward. It's really wonderful to have your singing, which was so wonderful. I was thinking of show tunes on the way over, and the show tune that came to mind when I thought of this project was one that Boston Red Sox fans might remember from 1967, and that's The Impossible Dream, right? So I'm sure there are days that only Don and Kathy actually believed that this project would happen, right? For them to have the vision, the persistence, the consistency to bring forth what is really sort of an impossible dream for this town to have this project, which is going to be so important to the city, so important to the region, so important, frankly, to the 5 colleges to have world-class theater troupes coming through on a regular basis. So perhaps for that December 2020 opening, Impossible Dream can be one of the tunes that you put into the repertoire. So thanks again to everyone, to the elected officials. Thanks for the opportunity for the chamber to speak, and thanks especially to Don and Kathy and his team for making this impossible dream come to reality. Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask Jeff Hayden to come up and say a few words. I have to preface this with when I first came to town with this project, Jeff was the head of economic development, and he and Kathy Anderson gave this project such a great reception and actually resulted in the first acquisition of a study grant for this for the theater from the legislature. So it's a great continuity. So please welcome Jeff.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Holyoke Community College and our president, Christina Royal. She sends her warmest regards. Unfortunately, she'll be on a plane shortly on her way back to the area, so she couldn't make it this morning. I did want to recognize 2 of my colleagues. One is our Dean of Arts and Humanities, Kim Hicks, who's been here this morning, and then also one of our faculty members, Patricia Sandoval. And Patricia is right over here. Patricia is putting on a production of In the Heights, which is coming soon. And this is how close the partnership with MiFA and the college and the community is. Pat called and asked for help from Don in terms of that production, and Don did it without even asking 2 questions. MiFA and the college are partnering to put on that production, and without them, it wouldn't happen. We know that in the future, there's opportunities to do workforce training around all the different theater occupations, and we're looking forward to that opportunity. And just as a response to what Kevin was saying about the impossible dream, my experience with the MiFA team is not the impossible dream. Don Sanders came to the Office of Economic Development in the city of Holyoke and said, "What do you think if MiFA set up its headquarters in Holyoke and did programming in Holyoke?" Yes, he did. Without even being asked, he said, "Let's locate in Holyoke." He said, "Do you think we could put on a production at the War Memorial and bring Mikhail Baryshnikov here?" And yes, he did. You know, and production after production, partnership after partnership. It's not the impossible dream that we're looking at. It's the hard work of persistence and working together. I look forward to that opening day, Don, and I know there's a bottle or 2 of champagne that we got ready. So thank you.
And further to the excitement of the partnerships between the community college, between the legislature, between the Chamber of Commerce, etc. I would like to tell you about what's going to be happening in the first phase of the construction, which is the actual removal of the chairs from inside the theater. And they're going to be restored, and we're doing this with the incredible cooperation and support of the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Kochi could not be with us this afternoon, but Sean Hemingway is going to come up, and I'd like him to say a few words. This is a very exciting partnership, because I just want to say, when you go in the theater, these seats were put in 1941. They look terrible, they look like hell, but they are in fact the best theater seats that were ever built. And collectors, like out in the Hamptons on Long Island, people have private theaters and they seek these seats and they restore them. They have rock maple arms, etc. So it's very important when we came into this project, the idea that we could restore these and to find an organization that also helps the civic good and helps the artistic good, and all good is just a wonderful. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Office and introduce you to Sean.
So my name's Sean Hemingway, and basically what we do at the Hampden County Sheriff's Department is prepare people for reentry. And we're looking at a theater, and it's a beautiful theater. It's going to be brought back to its glory, hopefully very soon. The first time that Don and Kathy walked me through the theater, I was blown away. It was like going through a time capsule, going back in history. I could just envision the people that walked through these doors in years past. But our main focus is on reentry and public safety. How does that relate to Victory Theater? Very simply, it gives people opportunities. The inmates that we're going to be bringing in here are going to dismantle the auditorium seating, okay? So that's the first phase. We're going to bring that back to our facility. We're going to reupholster that. We're going to refinish the seating. Then we're going to reinstall that. What is that going to do? What does that translate to? That translates to skill building, marketable skills, and getting the inmates back into the community and helping them secure full-time jobs. So they're going to answer the bell just like you and I did every day. They're going to go to work. They're going to be tax-paying citizens. They're not going to be coming back to jail. So that's our main focus is on recidivism. We want to make sure that recidivism rate is drawn down. We don't want people coming back and being a revolving door. So this is very exciting to us. I just left the shop with 35 gentlemen on the floor. We're doing an auditorium right now, 650 seats. This is a little bit bigger. This is 1,600 seats. And when Donna and Kathy walked me through it, I looked around, and it is a very, very large scope project. But we're going to roll up our sleeves. Sheriff Kochi is absolutely behind us 100%, and we really want to help the community out and build strong partnerships. So thank you, everybody.
I think it's time for Charlie. Could we have a serenade to again remind us of how great it's going to be sitting in a theater and hearing Charlie and his other wonderfully talented brethren?
Oh, thank you. Be my love, for no one else can end this yearning, this need that you and you alone create. Just fill my arms the way you filled my dreams, the dreams that you inspire with every sweet desire. Be my love, and with your kisses set me burning. One kiss is all I need to seal my fate, and hand in hand we'll find love's promised land. There'll be no one but you for me eternally, if you will be my love. And hand in hand we'll find lost promised land. There'll be no one but you for me eternally, if you will be my love. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Trevor Bob.
talk is great, but music is the universal language. And just imagine being in this theater. Charlie does not need this microphone. And when you hear a voice like Charlie's that you're going to hear routinely in this theater, it's going to be such an amazingly wonderful thing. I'd also like to say that I wanted to thank, in addition to folks that are here, I thank Congressman Richie Neal for coming and for presenting, sending his representative. Richie has been tremendous help with this project. We have also City Council Swan. I'm looking right at him. And thank you. And I guess the Resnicks were here, but they've gone. I'd also like to thank our neighbors from the Congregational Church, who have always been just as wonderful partners on programs that we do. Thank you so much. And what happens now is that, as Michael and Bill have said, we are now in the sense the pre-construction stage. We need to activate the bond money. Remember, I want to remind you that we're celebrating a $13 million award from the legislature. Okay? And that will enable us to go to construction. And in order to do that, as Senator Humison said, as Don said, we need to, of course, that little bond lives in a little house by itself, and it needs to be encouraged to come out and play as real live money with other money, and we will get there. So I want you to stay tuned to the progress. But this is really a celebration of the fact that the architectural work goes on, the construction work is being conceived of. This is real now, okay? And I want us all to be neighbors, and I want you to all be our love, right, Charlie? Yep. Be our love, and so we can all be there. We're going to have other things before that, but wait till that opening night. I mean, it's going to be sensational. So once again, thank you for coming, and it's a pleasure. Bye-bye.